Hi everyone, it's Stephanie. My YouTube channel is Lucky Snugs, and today I have the second junk journal I've ever made. This one is a Halloween theme, and I made it for a swap, and it's going to a woman in Russia. And I made the cover out of a couple of old pairs of jeans. This is made from an old pair of blue jeans that were really worn, and they're just so soft and tattered. And then this part right here is made from a pair of camouflage pants, which I think really fits with the Halloween theme because it's got all the autumn leaves. And the spine has the zipper from the blue jeans, and it goes up and down. And then a keychain from Tim Holtz, and then one of his Halloween themed keys, and this one says Haunted. And then on the cover, as I said, this is from a pair of blue jeans. And this hole is natural. It actually tattered this way, and it's just so soft and tattered. I just love it. And underneath it I slid a vintage looking journaling card that has a child in a witch's hat and a black cat and a jack-o'-lantern. And I sewed on some lace. And here is a safety pin from I think it's from Tim Holtz. It might be from Recollections. And it's a spider web. And when I open it up, you can see how I made the cover a little bit. I kind of stitched the sides and slipped it on, and I added some lace to cover up the raw edge. And the first page is some scrapbooking paper with pumpkins, and the second page is the first of the tucks that were required. We had to do 6 tucks, and inside is a laser cut tag and a little tiny watercolor I did of a rat, and a sticker from my favorite hat store. It's Black Cat Hats in Los Gatos, and the owner was kind enough to let me have several of these stickers to use in my Halloween paper crafting. This is a greeting card, and I just love the image, the typical Halloween image of a black kitten in a jack-o'-lantern. It just gets me every time. I just love it. And I painted the inside of the card with watercolor because we're not supposed to have any white pages, and I can see why that was a requirement. They do look so much better when they're not dead white. And this is from a greeting card. It says hello, and then some really thin washi tape and some lavender colored gems. And this right here is my kitty, Miles. You gonna make an appearance? Maybe, maybe not. And this is the pouch from a sewing pattern, and I had quite a few costumes made out of this pattern as a kid. It's from the 70s. And on this side I have a pocket, and it has some cards that were made by a swap partner that I swap with from time to time. Her name is Rula, and I think her last name is pronounced Koltas, and she does a lot of Halloween stuff, and she has a really large stash of Halloween papers and embellishments, and her stuff is always just so pretty. And this is an orange envelope from one of the greeting cards I used. And this is a Tim Holtz image from his Halloween ephemera pack. And then more of the really thin washi tape. And inside I have a Halloween card. I thought that image was so cute. And on this side, this is the other side of the envelope. And this is an image from a line that's no longer in business. They were called Rusty Pickle, and they were my favorite line, and this was my favorite Halloween paper. And I'm down to just the last few tiny scraps of it. And this is Graphic 45's Halloween line this year, and I think it's just so pretty, all the different colors. And I really like the raven. And on the other side is another tuck. And I have some playing cards. This is from a vintage card game, and I don't know what game it was, but I like the bear on it. And then I have these 2 cards. I think it's a deck it's from the 50s or 60s. I'm not sure which. I bought it on eBay. And this is a junk mail flyer from a craft store called Michael's. And this is also an image from a junk mail flyer. It's from Joann's, which is like a fabric and craft store. And this little girl was wearing a dress that was made with fabric that had trolls on it, because I think there's a new Trolls movie coming out. And I just painted over it to make it look like it's a witch costume. And this is from the children's book, It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. And here's Charlie Brown with all his holes in his costume and his bag of rocks, and the other kid with all the candy. And here's the whole gang going trick-or-treating. And then again, here's a child with candy, and you can kind of see the little bit of Charlie Brown with his rocks. And these are two more images of little girls in dresses with the troll pattern, and I just painted over it, and so I made this one look like she's in a tiger dress, and this one looked like she's in a deer costume. And this is the other side of the Michaels flyer, and I just think it's so pretty. They did some really nice color pops in it. And here's another tuck, and I have a paper clip with a gem on it. We had to use 6 paper clips. And this is a deck of cards I bought that's a zombie theme. So, well, let me show you this side. So this one says, keep your eyes peeled. If it stumbles, stay away, because zombies stumble. And this one says, stay in shape. Cardio is the key to survival. And this is a playing card I got at Disneyland with the Haunted Mansion on it. And this part glows in the dark, which is really fun. And this is one of the portraits in the stretching elevator. It's the little girl or the young woman on the tightrope. And this is a flyer from Sprinkles Cupcake. It's kind of a famous cupcake store. We have one in the area, and they're coming out with a cookbook. So it's a flyer for that. And more of the graphic 45 Halloween paper, and then another vintage journaling card with a child and a scarecrow. And here is the orange envelope, the other side of it with the Tim Holtz ephemera, Halloween ephemera of the moon, and some washi tape that has young women dressed for back to school, and it has some pumpkins and some leaves. And when you open it up, it has a recipe in it. I bought this pack of these recipe cards at a thrift store for like 50 cents. And they're kind of fun things to put in. I'm always looking for something different to put in the little tucks and stuff. And this is a tag I made. I painted leaves on it. And then I stamped an image of a black cat in a witch's hat. And on this side I did some paper weaving. And this is from Tim Holtz photo card collection, Found Relatives, and it's little boys with their jack-o'-lanterns. And then another, this is like a bobby pin, but I think it counts as a paper clip, and it's got a leaf on it. And then I stitched some autumn scrapbooking paper onto the pocket. And this is more of the Rusty Pickle Halloween paper that I like so much. And then here's some acrylic skull and crossbones that I got in like a Halloween grab bag at a scrapbook store. And then up here I have some orange rhinestones. And this is the other side of the Halloween card. It says, just wanted you to know I'm thinking about you on Halloween. Have fun. And I stamped a black cat. And then these are some acrylic little cat heads, which I think are so cute. More of that grab bag stash that I got. And this is the back side of the kitten and the pumpkin. And it's another, on the back, it's another kitten, and it's sticking its tail out the little pumpkin nose. And I wanted to keep that. I covered the back of the card with this scrapbooking paper, but I really wanted to see this image. So I cut it out, and then I put a little frame around it. And this is a comic from The New Yorker. And it has Death, and he's sneaking up on this guy who has a balloon, and Death is, I'm sure you can't see it, Death is holding a pin, so he's going to pop it and scare him. And then I cut Thinking of You out of a card making kit, so I thought that was funny. I don't know if someone living in Russia is going to kind of get the joke, but anyway. And here's another card, little puppy. And on this side I have some scrapbooking paper with some really pretty autumn leaves. And over here is a big tag that I dyed black, and then I wove some paper into it. And this is from a photo book that I bought at a thrift store. It's like a coffee table book with pretty photo images. And this one it's a beach, and it's got some poles and a TV, and then I'll show you the rest of the picture when we get to it. And this is from a children's book, and I can't remember which one, but it has a bat and a little chipmunk. And some daisies or sunflowers, I guess. And this is an advertisement for some children's sewing patterns for little fairy costumes. And on this side you can see another fairy. It's so cute. And this was from a card making kit. And then I adhered some purple gems. And this is a greeting card. There we go. And it's a bunch of little mice, and they're working on their jack-o'-lantern. This is the back of the greeting card, and I got this image from a card making kit as well, and then more of the purple gemstones. And this is more of the advertisement for the sewing patterns for the fairy costumes. And then this is the back of that, and it has little princess costumes. And then more of the sunflowers. And this is from a Party City advertisement, and it's cowboys. And since this book is going to someone in Russia, I thought she'd get a kick out of cowboy costumes, because you can't get more American than that. And this is some images from that photo coffee table book that I purchased, and I really like them. They're so pretty with the orange and the sunset. And some washi tape that I have that has teenage girls dressed for school. And there's pumpkins and leaves. This is the other side of the photograph I was talking about earlier that's on the beach. And so here's a window and a door, and then I have Charlie Brown here. It's kind of trying to convey that he's knocking on the door that's on the beach. And here's the other part of the tag that I dyed black, and I wove more paper in. And if you can look here, I took a flyer from a candy store called C's Candy, and I wove it in, and I tried to make it so that you could see the pieces of candy. This is the back of the greeting card that has the puppy on it, and it says, "Hope it's just full of surprises and fun." And here is a stamp of a dog howling, and I think it looks like my big golden doodle Rio, and he's always howling. Oh, and here's Miles. Say hi, Miles. Are you helping? Miles is 17. She just turned 17 last month. All right. You gonna help? Okay. So here's the back of the card, and I tried to ink it, but it just didn't stick very well because the card's so slippery. But I think it's still an interesting look. It adds some nice texture. And here's Snoopy in the pumpkin patch. And this is scrapbooking paper with apples. I'd ask her to move, but I let her do whatever she wants. She's 17. She's earned it. I'm trying to leave some of these pages a little bit blank for journaling or for photos. And this is some scrapbooking paper with some dried leaves. And then for a tab, I stitched some denim onto it, just to add a little bit of texture. And this is a photo from that photo book again. And this is wood. I think it's the type of wood they call burl. It's got all the knots and stuff in it. I just thought it was so pretty. This is a flyer from a used bookstore where I get a lot of the children's books that I cut up, because I get them and they've been colored in, and some of them are falling apart, and they usually let me have them for a quarter. So it reads, at half price books, book lovers feel like a kid in a candy store, a huge candy store where you can sell your used candy. And then down here it reads, okay, maybe that's not the best analogy, but I thought it was really funny because with Halloween and candy it kind of fits. The back side of the flyer, and my kitty. You know what, would you mind moving over? I have a bed for her right over here because I knew she'd want to get in on the action. Here you go, sweetie, right there. And so I just stamped some images on here. There's an owl, a chipmunk, and a sparrow. And this is another photo from the photo coffee table book, and this is a taxi cab door. And another journaling tag with some vintage images. And this is a library pocket. and it has a little clip with a cup of coffee, and then some, this is from See's Candy, their flyer, so it shows the different types of candy, and then a ruler from Tim Holtz ephemera pack. And this is a Little Kittles paper doll from 1969. Little Kittles was a brand of tiny little dolls. See, it doesn't want to come out, it's sticking on something. It was a brand of tiny little dolls that came in these little perfume bottles, and there we go. Soda pop bottles, and they had a little perfumey fragrance. So here she is, and here's her dress, and here's her little hat. This is Lolly Grape, so she would have had a grape scent. I loved those when I was a kid. Here's an image from a children's book, and I don't remember which one. And this is from that photo coffee table book, and this is downtown Tokyo at night. And another image from the photo coffee table book. And this is a street in London, and then I cut out the trick-or-treaters from the Great Pumpkin book. And another image from downtown Tokyo. And this is the front of the greeting card that I tucked in one of the envelopes at the beginning. And I painted a little tiny mouse wearing a witch's hat. And I left this blank for journaling or photographs. And this is another photo from the photo book, and it's paint cans. And I used it because it's orange and black, and the circles remind me of pumpkins. And another side from the photo book, and this is the other side of the taxi cab door, and this is the other side of the flyer from the Half Price Books flyer with a map, which is always kind of fun, and some Halloween scrapbooking paper with bats on it, and then the dried leaves, and then I left this one blank for photos or journaling. And there's the apples again, and some autumn leaves. And here's Linus waiting for the Great Pumpkin. And this is an ad for a book, and I thought that the cover looks like a spooky night, so I cut that out. And this is the other side of that ad, and it's a hipster in glasses. And I added an owl to make it more Halloween-like. And then some scrapbooking paper with skeletons on it. And this one has a graveyard, which I think is really cool. And some Clue score pads. And then I stitched some Halloween ribbon onto it with my sewing machine. And this is the back side of a bag, and I Mod Podged an autumn napkin on it. And here you see the other side of the bag, and it's See's Candy, which is a popular candy store here in California. And I dyed this with coffee. Part of the requirement for this junk journal was that pages had to be dyed with coffee. There should be no white pages. And I can see why why the author of the swap wrote the rules that way, because I think it makes a big difference. I really like the muted pages instead of the stark white. I added some Halloween ribbon here so you can see that the bag opens, because without it you can't really tell that it opens. It kind of blends. And just some more of those recipe cards. And then this is a skeleton from Tim Holtz ephemera pack. And this is Graphic 45's Rapunzel Halloween line. And this is from the See's Candy flyer. And this is another image from that photo book, which I just thought was so pretty and, you know, kind of haunting. And the other side, and isn't that just lovely? And then here's more of the Halloween Rapunzel from Graphic 45. And another skeleton from Tim Holtz. And the back side from the See's Candy bag. And then I've added more of the recipe cards. And some Argyle ribbon so you can see that it opens. And here's the back side with the napkin. And then the other side of the Clue cards, the Clue score sheets. And then the other side of the graveyard scrapbook paper. And here comes Miles again to say hi. You going to come say hi? You just want to be on TV, don't you? Yeah, you want to be on the internet. And more of the skeleton paper. And this is the other side of the guy with glasses and the other side of the book. And I left this blank for journaling or a photo. Yes, I see you. I do. And some autumn leaves, and then this really pretty foiled chevron paper. And this was from a card kit as well. And this was from the photo coffee table book. Isn't that just so pretty? And how about that one, huh? That's pretty. And this is from a children's book. And I drew witches' hats on all the animals to make it more Halloween-like. And they're having a little witch parade. And this is from a children's book as well. And this is from the front of a scrapbook pad that's a Miles. You think you're helping, don't you? But you're not. How about if you go, oh, hey, sweetie. How about if you go back on your bed, okay? Just for a moment. We spoil her because she deserves it. This is the cover of a scrapbooking pad, and I actually kind of liked all the different patterns. And here's some paper weaving that I did for another junk journal, and I just put this little piece on there because I thought it worked. And then a paper clip, Tim Holtz ephemera, and more of the Great Pumpkin. And here's Linus sleeping in the pumpkin patch. And this was also from that card kit I got for Halloween. And boy, how about that? That's another image from the photo book. Isn't that just so pretty? And then this is from the Party America junk mail with the costumes. And this is Peppa Pig. And here's Snoopy, my favorite Peanuts character. He's looking at Linus sleeping. And there's more of Snoopy and Linus. And here is a blackbird that I did, and I painted bunny ears on him because he's ready for Halloween, and a pumpkin. And there's a pocket here, and it has a little tiny black cat hats and Los Gatos. And then some rook cards, which I like because it has the ravens on them. You can see the other side, it's just numbers. And yet another paper clip. And then this one it's the children's story. And I think it looks like all the animals are dividing up their Halloween candy. We used to trade when I was a kid. You know, I'll give you all my sweet tarts for, you know, all your Jolly Ranchers or whatever. And then I put a little piece of See's candy right there. Almost to the end. And here's some of them wearing witch hats. And the tortoise is wearing his on a shell. We had a tortoise when I was a kid, and my friend and I put a little birthday hat on his shell one time. It was really cute. And then more of the lake image. This is also from that photo coffee table book, and it was taken in Japan, and it's Halloween masks that are probably on the outside of a store maybe. And then some washi tape with kitties. Ah, we're at the end. More of the foiled chevron. And then the inside of the book cover, and I sewed lace on it, and there's the back. So that is it. That is my second junk journal that I've made, and the first one I've made with a Halloween theme. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.